Before we start tonight's conversation, I want to introduce something new that we're trying here at the Rebel Tribe. This is Rebel Tribe After Hours. It's not an interview series, and it's not a teaching podcast, and it's definitely not about having the right answers. It's about honest conversations, the kind that usually happen, after the day is done, when the noise dies down and people finally say what they actually think. If you were around for the old jammy chats I used to do way back in the day, think about those. So over the next few weeks, you're going to hear different kinds of after hours conversations. Some weeks we'll talk about faith and spirituality, what we believe, what we don't, what we're still figuring out. Some weeks we'll talk with the creatives about ideas, identities, and what it's like to make things in the world. Some weeks we'll have conversations with men. I know, ladies, the Rebel Tribe is for ladies, but we're actually going to invite a few men into the conversation, and we're going to talk to them about responsibility and pressure and leadership and what it really means to show up. And sometimes we're just going to talk to everyday people. No platform, no brand, just lived experience. The reason for all of this is simple. I believe wisdom doesn't live in just one lane. It lives in real conversations. It lives across belief systems. It lives across creative paths, genders, lived experience. And the Rebel Tribe After Hours is a place where we listen more than we explain. So tonight is our first after hours conversation, and we're starting with spirituality. Not the polished version, not the performative version, the honest, sometimes messy, very human version. And I couldn't imagine starting this without Faye, very commonly known in the Rebel Tribe as Oracle, for a reason. Okay. So instead of a question, no interview questions, I'm just going to ask her this. Faye, what's been stirring in your world lately?
Hmm. There's been a lot stirring in my world lately. Most recent was an insane noticing where I had a button pushed that I didn't realize the button was activating some very pent up stored emotions. And everybody sees me as the level-headed, cool, got it together, got multiple tools for everything that you could imagine. And here I was losing my stuff, like totally, completely unhinged. And I could watch myself as it was happening. And at one point, I almost even felt like I was floating above myself and watching the experience. And I at least was able to hold it together enough that I didn't start to verbalize some of the things that I was thinking. So that at least showed me that I had integrated some of the lessons that I've learned over time, that I was able to hold it together enough, even though I was losing my shit, let's be honest. And all of a sudden, I'm running out of the room, going into my healing room. I've got this big, huge gong. I picked up the mallet and I just started banging the gong just to let out whatever that emotion was that I was feeling. And that helped. And I got to admit, I slammed the door, which also helped.
I've known
But
to slam
again,
a
I
door or two in my
felt
day.
what?
I said, I've been known to slam a door or two in my day.
Yeah, well, and I kind of felt like that was a healthy way to release what I was feeling. Instead of one, stuffing it down, two, holding on to it, three, spewing out hurtful words that would not have been able to be taken back, and there would have been more damage done. And then just once that rage of emotion got processed out of the body, to just sit in silence and let whatever was remaining run through. So it was a good kind of spotlight on people look at you and think you have all the answers, but you don't always have all the answers. And when life throws you a curveball, you're human too, and it's okay to process in a way that's going to be most effective. What do you think?
Well, it was just kind of weird that you were saying all that because I know I've had this conversation with you and I've had it with a couple of other people. Some of them we both know. First, let me clarify that I have not been until very recently inclined to much of what I call the woo factor. I'm pretty much a structure, systems, logic kind of person. I mean, I feel things in my gut sometimes. I call it intuition, but I always looked at it as I am a person of faith. So I've always listened to it when I had that feeling. It was like it was a little God nudge telling me, this is what's going on. But I've become a little more, shall we say, woo. In the last year or so, I've become a little more woo. And having some conversations with some of my more woo friends, we've all said the same thing that we feel like something's shifting. And I had this same experience all last week. I felt like I was just walking on the edge of who knows what. I was short tempered. I was very just edgy and irritable. I haven't been sleeping well. I hadn't been eating right. I was just snappy and yeah, and the only thing that kept me from completely going off on people was I don't have a gong, okay?
I highly recommend that.
But I write. I'm a writer, so I would come up and I would just and my daughter actually got me using Chat GPT as more of an online journal. So I would just come up and like spew basically everything that I was feeling out into chat, and it would come back and like calm me down, and I was able to get all of what I was feeling out into the world, so to speak, without actually getting it out into the world where it could do damage. Because I was just like, but yeah, it's just weird. So hearing you say that same thing, I don't know, it's just weird. What is happening? I mean, you're feeling it, I'm feeling it. And like I said, I've talked to other people out there that are a little bit on the woo side, and they're feeling it. They're all saying the same thing. Something is
Yeah,
shifting.
we're
Even my husband said it the other
definitely.
day that we're standing on the edge of something, and he's about as not woo as you can get. Okay.
No, we're definitely on the edge of something. I mean, there's been a lot of solar flares, geomagnetic storms, the state of the world as it is. So energetically, whether you subscribe to any of it or none of it, energetically, since we're all transmitters anyway, we're picking up on this stuff. We may not realize it and we may not understand it, but it definitely is affecting. Just the same, like when there's a full moon, right? There's a higher incidence of people going into labor because the moon controls the fluid in our bodies. We're 80, 90% water, right? So if the moon affects high tide, low tide, it's going to affect the fluid in our bodies. It also affects our emotions. So there's that energetic component of things unseen that if we're not paying attention, we're going to walk around and just kind of go, I don't know what's going on.
I read, and I don't remember where I read it, somewhere that the world is on the cusp of the fourth turning, whatever the heck that is. And I didn't actually look it up to see what that meant, but that's what they're saying, that we are on the cusp of the fourth turning, that this happens periodically. And then, I'm curious now. I'm going to look it up. Hang on. Now I am curious. Now that I've gotten talking about it, why not? Let's look it up. Fourth
Why
turning.
not? Look it up. Let's see what the heck it is. So another way that like I can channel some of these crazy emotions is to just shut all the electronics off and pull out my sketch pad and then start letting my pencil or my pens just kind of land on the page. As you can see, there's really no real rhyme or reason to what I'm putting up in the camera right now. But doing things like this, it allows, it's a moving meditation because as you're focused on what's showing up on the page, you stop thinking about the same conversation that's been running around in your head. And you start to breathe again, whereas you might have been unconsciously holding your breath.
Yeah, that
And
would
as
drive me nuts,
go
but okay.
ahead. What?
I said that would drive me crazy, but okay. I
Yeah,
got
but
it.
what is it?
Okay, so this is why I read it. So I subscribe to Mike Dillard's newsletter,
Mm.
of magnetic sponsoring fame. Because back in the day of network marketing, when I was big into network marketing, magnetic sponsoring was the thing, and it worked. So so I've been following him ever since. And he says the fourth turning is a theory developed by historians William Strauss and Neil Howe that describes how history moves in predictable cycles, each lasting about the length of a long human life, 80 to 100 years. Each cycle consists of 4 distinct phases or turnings, each lasting roughly 20 to 25 years. We are in the winter season, and that's when the world falls into chaos. Winter seasons represent a massive period of upheaval when society passes through a great and perilous gate. Everything that once held society together starts to crack. The institutions you trusted betray you. The stories you believed in stop working. The systems that produce stability begin producing chaos instead. Yeah, I'll buy that. I'll buy that.
Yeah, I'd say there's a little bit of chaos going on right now.
So
Oh my
there's
goodness.
other stuff, other stuff, other stuff, other stuff. What you need to know is that during the climax of a winter season, rival factions go to war in order to establish a new ideological and cultural path for the next 80 to 100 years. Yay.
Yay.
So is that what we're feeling? I don't know.
I
Is
mean,
that what
it
we're
could
feeling?
very well be. It could very well be.
Or are we just reacting to all the chaos in the world right now? I'm just like,
Again,
sure.
because we're energetic receivers, it could be a gut reaction. If we don't take the time to ground, to find the silence, to go back to that 0 point, that space within, that small bit of silence between the in breath, that little pause, and then the exhale. That's our reconnection, and it's with us with each and every breath. And I know that sounds patent and like, what are you talking about? But when we give ourselves that grace to go back to the breathing and that small bit of silence in between, when we allow it, it organically begins to grow because it feeds us and it rewires our nervous system. So it helps us to let go of some of this constant bombardment of the unseen. Does that make any sense?
I don't know about you, but I've been doing an awful lot of box breathing lately. Okay.
A lot of what?
Box breathing.
Box breathing.
Yes, because it calms me down. I don't remember who taught me that. Was it you?
It might have been.
Somebody taught me box breathing and it works. It's very calming.
Well, for anybody who doesn't know what it is, it's you inhale to the count of 4, hold to the count of 4, exhale for 4, and then hold again. And at each juncture, there's a natural pause built in. You use that pause to transition to the next phase of the cycle of the breathing. So if you can picture it in your mind, it's inhale, hold, exhale, hold. So it actually comes like a box. If you can picture the box, it may help you go through all of the cycles.
It's very calming when you're about ready to rip somebody's head off. If you go retire to your office and sit in your little chair and go through a couple of cycles of box breathing, it helps.
Indeed, it does. Indeed, it does. And where is the one that there was one of the drawings that I did, just trying to remember which one it was. Well, the other thing about putting pencil or pen to paper is you often get insights, intuitive insights, because you're becoming still. This one, after I was done, it came through and I was told it's called native. So whether that's Native American or native to your environment, I don't know, take it for whatever it means. Oftentimes when I allow myself to engage in art, things pop up in the drawings or in the paintings that I did not purposely put there. It's really crazy the way that happens. All of a sudden, somebody will come in and look at something and go, "Oh, what's that there?" And I look and I have no idea. What is it? And they'll see something that they need to see in the drawing. So
Why is
it's a
that?
way. Hmm?
Why do you think that is? I mean, you were saying you put pen to paper, and I'm sitting here thinking the same thing happens a lot when granted, it's not pen to paper. It's, I'm on the computer and I'm typing, but and stuff just comes out sometimes. And I don't think it's not chat leading me or anything because I don't use it that way. Like I said, it's more of an online journal, but things spill out sometimes and you're just sitting there looking at it going, where did that come from?
How do you think I post my daily post in my Spiritual Bites group? Those are never planned. I get up in the morning, I go through the stock pile of images that I have on my computer, and I listen to what I'm drawn to. And 9 times out of 10, the image that I choose, somebody in the group needs to either see that image, see what's on it, or what I've added to it. So that makes complete sense. It's coming from your higher self on some level. Could be a spirit guide, could be a forefather, could be a healer that's not in the physical, whatever you're comfortable associating with. But it's crazy the way that just simply flows through the fingers onto the keyboard, isn't it?
I know, as I said, I will look at it sometimes because every time I do that, chat will come out with something like, and let me reflect that back to you because that's truth right there. And I'm like, well, okay, yeah, probably, but where did it come from? Okay. Because it definitely wasn't in my head a minute ago, but
Right.
now it's out on electronic paper. Okay. So
Yeah.
and And like I said, I always believed my things that like that were always little God nudges. So now I'm looking at it going, what is he trying to tell me? Okay. What is he trying to tell me that I'm not hearing?
I took that as communication that for somebody who's not tapped in, right, will receive information, guidance, messages, whatever you want to call it, that somebody needs to hear or needs to receive, or it lifts them up. They haven't yet taken the time to get into that stillness or to recognize the information as it's coming through. It took me a long time to be able to say, all right, I'm going to share this information, because I was always hesitant that, oh, what do I know? How do I know this is true? Right? You've been taught not to trust that inner guidance. But when you give out the information as you receive it, obviously tempering it, if you get information that says, oh, this person's going to die today, you're not going to say, guess what? You're going to die today.
Well, I would hope not. Okay.
No, you at that point would go, how have you been feeling lately? Maybe you might, if you haven't been for physical for a while, you might want to go and get yourself checked out. You never want to tell somebody like really negative stuff, because we're all on the path to experience what we're supposed to experience in the way that we're meant to experience it.
Well, yeah, and maybe that works for you because you go into it with the thought of what are you going to share today. But when I'm journaling like that, I definitely, even though apparently I have some moments of profound truth when I'm vomiting all over my keyboard. Not literally, by the way. Okay.
You'd be
Word
replacing a
vomiting
lot of
all over.
keyboard. You'd be replacing a lot of keyboards.
Vomiting words all over my keyboard. Apparently I come up with some major truths along the way, but I'm not sharing that. That's me usually at my most dark and desperate. And, that's a private thing. That's when I'm
Mm.
struggling and it's a private thing. And I'm certainly not doing it to share. So I'm not sure why that happens or what it's trying to tell me. I feel like it's trying to tell me something, but I don't know what.
Perhaps it's a reflection back for you, because when we're in our own head and we're cycling the same thoughts over and over again in just different ways, we can't necessarily see what we need to see because it's right here, right? So maybe that gives you the space that you need to kind of quantify it.
That could be. That could be because I always come out of a journal session like that much more clear-headed and calm. So that could be. And a lot of things come out of those, like this podcast series came out of one of those sessions.
And here we
And
are.
here we are. So who knows?
And who knows where it's going to go?
You never know. But
To
it
the
is
moon.
interesting. I mean, we used to, the
Well,
podcasts I do are fun.
I
They're
remember the
fun.
jammy chats.
Yeah, they were fun.
They
They were fun.
were.
I think I had you on as a guest one time, didn't we? Well, yeah, they were fun. I mean, and you never knew what we were going to talk about. It all depended on who showed up and
Exactly.
how many martinis we had before. No,
Well, I never showed
not
up to
really.
I never showed up to the alcohol ones, just the straight jammy ones. And
Not
sometimes
not
it was just
really.
and sometimes it was just about talking about whose cute jammies were showing up.
Why not? And when your co-host was the Martini Diva, apparently, yes, there were martinis involved, but still
Well,
good.
and that was a learning experience.
Yeah, don't have too many martinis. I'm not a huge big drinker anyway. So one was about my limit. I don't drink like that. I never have really. Well, I won't say that. Back in the day back in my Navy days,
Mm,
I could drink with the best of them because
that was it.
being the
This,
only female sometimes in a predominantly male dominated rate, you had to be able to hold your own,
I bet.
unfortunately or
I bet.
fortunately. And I am more than able to hold my own, but I don't enjoy it. I never saw the purpose of getting sloppy drunk. What's the point?
No, and the interesting thing is that more spiritually awakened and the more spiritual knowledge I've gained over the years, what used to put me flat on my back, so to speak, was alcohol, no longer required. Like even the fun of the buzz, let's say, just isn't there. It has no bearing, no consequence. So why bother with the empty calories?
Oh, I know. It's like I don't like, I can't even remember. I think I had, what did I have? I went to a networking event at the early December, and part of your admission was you got one free drink. And I had a very interesting winter type cocktail with like I don't even remember what was in it. It was very unique tasting though, kind of like had like a little pine taste to it, believe it or not, and it had cranberries and stuff. And it was good, but it was very small because it was just it was a little crafty cocktail. And I drank that, and that was it. That thing lasted me all night long.
Mm,
And that was it. We were
perfect.
done. And it was like, okay. So that's about the limit of my drinking now. I just don't drink like that anymore. But so if you're looking for martinis and wine and these, don't be waiting for them because they probably won't show up because those jammy chats are long gone. I just don't do that. I have water. Pellegrino water. So I got my bubbles. I got my Pellegrino water, but still water.
And if you want to go even deeper, take your filtered water, add some Himalayan salt to it, and your
Oh, I do.
body will absorb it on a deeper cellular level. You'll hydrate a little more deeply.
Now I do that in the mornings. Um, Claudine at last year's summit mentioned that in her presentation about adding a little Celtic sea salt to your water. So yeah, my first drink in the morning is coconut water with lemon and a little Celtic sea salt. That is like
Mm.
the first thing I grab in the morning, even before coffee, if you can believe it.
Yay, that's the best way to do it. I actually have salt in my water all day just to make sure I don't underdose, so to speak. And
Probably.
the interesting thing is since I've been adding more salt to my water, I've been noticing improvement in my vision.
Oh,
Yeah, kind of cool. And then the other thing that I just started doing, hmm, I want to say late last week, I take whole cloves, throw them in a liter, a quart of water, about four of them, five of them, let it sit overnight. So it's a cold brew kind of clove tea.
mm-hmm.
Drink about 4 to 8 ounces of that first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. And I noticed this morning that the floaters in my eyes are disappearing.
Hmm.
You know how you get those like little spotty things running through your eyes
Oh yeah, I
occasionally?
have a bad. I have a bad.
Those have been going away.
So clove tea, huh?
Well, clove water.
Clove water. Okay.
I just take the water, throw the cloves in, let it sit overnight, and then drink some of the water in the morning.
Not a big fan of cloves, but to get rid of floaters, I might.
I mean,
Fire fatigue.
start with only two cloves in your water if you're not a fan. You're still gonna, it's also an anti-parasitic. So if you have any parasites, it'll help get rid of the parasites because we all have them. We're just not aware of it. So what the heck?
If it'll get rid of the floaters, because those are really annoying.
Mm-hmm. Because I was playing with it this morning and I'm going, oh, look, there's not so many anymore. The
I'm
only
game.
the only other time I was able to eliminate the floaters was when I was doing raw vegan and my body got so cleaned out. It's just I couldn't continue the raw vegan. It was too much for my system. Um, I ended up going more vegetarian. During the summer, I'll do more raw vegan, but you have to find what works for your body. But that was the only other time the floaters went away.
Yeah, I
So
didn't know you could do anything with them because when I went to my ophthalmologist, because they were so bad and so sudden that I thought something was wrong because my vision is bad anyway. So we're constantly on the alert for a detached retina or something. And that's what I thought. That was my immediate first thought was great. And I went to him and he's like, no, they're just floaters and it's part of the aging process. There's nothing you can do. Great.
no,
Wonderful.
it's part of the environment and what we're eating. So myth dispelled. The Oracle has spoken.
Well, Oracle has never steered me wrong yet, so that's why the name's stuck because she's always been right so far.
Well, I take credit for moving your woo needle more to the woo.
You and yeah, like who you? Um, there's been a couple, and I can't even think of their names now. They've both been on my podcast, a couple of them, and yeah, both of you. Oh, I can't think of her name. Lana DeVroe. Yeah, Lana DeVroe. She was on my podcast, and she asked if she does energy work, and she asked if she could do, like something, because I told her I hadn't been sleeping well and I'd been having headaches, blah blah blah. And she's like, "Can I work with you?" And I was like, "You're in California and I'm here. How does this work?" She says, "No, we can do it through the." And I was like, "Okay, fine." I don't believe you for a minute, okay? Because you're over there and I'm over here, okay? But knock yourself out. I will more than happily take this opportunity to debunk you on my podcast. Let's do this. And so she did this thing and she asked me, I don't even think she asked me anything. She just like, she did whatever it does to do her little thing. And then she comes out and she goes, and she gave me a date. And she says, "Does that date mean anything to you?" Well, it was the date of my divorce from my first husband. I mean, she had the date, and I've never told her that I was even divorced. So she gave me that date, and I was like, "Yes." And she goes, "I'm sensing that you still have a lot of un how'd she put it?
Unre
Unreleased
Unresolved grief.
yeah, unforgiveness. No, unforgiveness."
Ooh.
And I was like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, you hit that one on the head." Okay. Not so
Mhm.
much for me, because I was quite content with him to be gone, but I have never forgiven him for the other things that he did
Mhm.
that, with my daughter and stuff. So I say that I have, and until she brought that up, I was like, I have to acknowledge that I haven't. There is still a lot of resentment there over the way he treated my kids. So after the divorce, so there's a lot of pent up resentment there. So I was like, okay, fine, got that one right. And then she goes, You need to get yourself some rose oil and start using rose oil. I just sat there like, I'm a big believer in essential oils, not for woo purposes, but for health purposes. But I went down to my cupboard that morning where I keep my oils, and I happened to open it up and go, I need to reorder some rose oil. I was like, okay, fine.
That was a huge hit.
And I was like, okay, you win. It was just funny. I was like, that's when I finally just conceded. It's like, yeah, okay, maybe there's more here than I realize. I don't know. But boy, I tell you what, she nailed it. So yeah, you and Lana, boy, and then you with your what if you talk EFT?
Uh-huh.
Okay, and I'm like, how does this help me? But it does. Okay, but it does.
Again, it's releasing the emotions that are stuck in your tissues. Everything that's been stuffed down, tapping on those meridian points helps release what's stuck. It allows the stuff that's buried to come up and go out.
All I know is, like I said, I have slowly shifted from here on the woo scale to maybe about
Yeah,
here now.
I would agree you're about there.
Ah, well, but I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I don't understand. I admit I don't understand, and I still have to run everything through my own personal belief system. So
Of course.
so
If
far,
it
none
doesn't
of you have done
resonate,
anything so weird and wacky that I have to look at you and go, okay, no. So
if it doesn't resonate, you're not going to subscribe to it on any level. Your unconscious is going to not allow it, right? Because your unconscious is always there to protect you. So if it's something that's completely against who you are or who you choose to be, it could be the next thing since sliced bread. But if it doesn't resonate, you're gonna go, nope.
and I do believe that we're all given gifts that we're supposed to use in the world. I'm still trying to figure out what mine is yet. I keep asking. I don't get told. But
You have to get
I
busy
believe that
quiet.
I do believe that possibly some of you were given these gifts to help others, that it's quite possible you were given this ability. God gave you these gifts and these abilities so that you could help others, because she's right. I have held that in my heart for how long have Daryl and I been married? So 40 over 40 years, because I've been with Daryl for 40 years. And so prior to meeting Daryl and remarrying, so I have held this in my heart for a while, anger and the resentment. And that's a long time. And I always thought I was good. It's like I forgave him. No, I didn't. And who knows what that squashed down resentment had been doing all these years to, who knows? So, I mean, she nailed it. And if it weren't for her, I would still be carrying that around.
Hmm.
So, you know,
Yay for the woo.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's like you with the sleep. I was not every once in a while when I get really wound up, I still have times where I struggle to sleep, but man, it used to be before you helped me sleep, if I got a good 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night, that was a good night. I got like 5 hours of sleep. I'm good. I'm ready to go. Okay. And now it's like, I don't get 8 still. I still can't get 8, but I get a good 6 something, 7 hours. And for me, that's like, holy crap. Okay. I got like 6.5 hours of sleep last night. That's amazing. So But if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be there. So, I believe he puts the people in our path that we need. He shoved you in my path so you could cure my insomnia with your hypnosis that, because I can't be hypnotized.
That was the best thing, watching you put yourself into a trance and catching yourself before you went all the way under. That was like the highlight. I can't be hypnotized. I can't be hypnotized. Wait a minute. That
But
was awesome.
well, yeah, but it worked. Like I said, I sleep. There's still even on the nights when I'm having a hard time, I still get better sleep than I used to before that. So there are still some nights where, like us when I was, like when I was talking to Lana, I was dealing with some stuff.
Mm.
And then she came on my podcast out of the blue. She's like, "Yeah, I'll be a guest." Boom, there she was, and she, I was struggling with some stuff, and then there she was to help me realize what was going on. And but I was still getting better sleep than I had pre you, and she just helped me
Mhm.
get through that little period where I was still struggling with some stuff. And so I will never doubt the woo anymore without I will at least keep an open mind about it. I will at least keep an open mind about it. Okay. We will
And that's
see. We
helpful.
will.
It's also like, how some days you're just kind of scrolling and something will cross your mind and you'll look at it and do a little research and go, why am I even looking at this? And then oftentimes I find that when that happens for me, it's not even information that I need. After I find something new, either that day, within the next couple of days, somebody needs the information that I just unfolded or just researched. And it's like, oh, here's what you need. It's crazy the way that happens. So not only does God put people in your face that you need, He'll often point you in the direction to do the research for somebody else so that you have the information to help them.
And I do believe that. I believe that we are constantly guided. We just have to listen. We're not all real good about listening. I'm probably not as good at it as I could be or as I should be, but I think I'm better than most people because I do a lot of stuff just based on, I don't know how to explain it, like a just a gut feeling. Like, you know, like last year's summit, all of a sudden in like the beginning, end of March, beginning of April, it comes to me, you should host a summit. And so a few
And
weeks
you
later, we
did.
held our first, yeah, we did. It's like, okay, I should do this. I'm being told I should do this. So let's go do this. And it wasn't perfect because, but I just felt like I should do it. And so we went and did it. And people loved it. And it was a learning experience for me. This next one will be so much better. But where would I where would the people that came to that, so many of the ladies that listened to it and so many of the ladies that spoke at it came and said, how much they appreciated the information they got from the speakers and the chance to meet everybody, and where would these ladies be right now if I hadn't done that, if I'd have looked at it and said, well, I've never done a summit before. I don't know how. I don't have time. I don't have the technology. I don't know what I'm doing. But I just like, okay, summit. How hard can that be? Let's do it. Okay. So I honestly believe that when you get that feeling in your gut that you're supposed to be doing something, go do it. Because yeah, you're supposed to go do that. When you get that feeling deep in your heart that you're supposed to be doing something, listen to it and go do it. Because once I decided to do it, it was like I figured I would maybe have myself and a couple other speakers, maybe. I had women knocking on my door. I had to expand it to get everybody that invited themselves to be speakers. Okay. Because it did start out to be 5 days and all day long. It was only supposed to be like a day or two and just a couple hours, but it started out being 5 days and it pretty much went all day long. because women can and good speakers, like well-known speakers like Joey and Sally, not just run-of-the-mill people coming in off the street, but actual well-known, qualified, professional speakers knocking on my door going, hey, can we be part of this? Well, yeah. I don't know where I'm going to fit you, but sure. Let's just add another day.
And in
So
spite of it all, it got done.
it did. It got done. So, but that's my point is once you decide, once you listen and decide that yeah, I'm going to listen to this thing that I'm being told to do, it's like somebody opens the cosmic floodgate and the stuff you need is boom in your lap. Joey taught me about Be Live because I have never been able to figure out how to make Zoom live stream ever into Facebook ever. But Joey taught me about Be Live, and Be Live is a snap. It's all I use now for live streaming because it's so easy. But up until then, and then all of a sudden, out of a blue, she's like, "Well, here, let me show you this platform that I use." Oh, okay. You know, I mean, it just like I said, you just when you listen to what you're supposed to be doing, somebody unlocks something. Call it God. That's what I mean. I call it God. You can call it whatever you want. But he unlocks something and says, "Okay, you're finally listening. Let me help you." So, yeah.
Truth. Very true. Very true. And now this year we're moving towards the revisioning.
Yep,
Um,
the revisioning. And again, I'm thinking it got delayed. It got delayed because technological stuff. But after the technological stuff made me push it back some other things came to light that are like, oh yeah, okay, good decision. Because I would have tried probably to move forward without it, with in spite of what else I knew going on, I probably would have tried to move forward anyway because I'd already put it out there. And it's like, okay, we're doing this regardless. We'll just make it work. But now that the technological, when it was obvious to him that I was not going to listen to his guidance, okay, and I was going to do this anyway. The technology screwed up, okay. So it's like, okay, signs taken, point taken, you win, we will reschedule. So we will reschedule, and it'll be better because I'm listening to what I'm being told. It wasn't quite time yet. It's we need to reschedule. I know I'm impatient, but it's okay. We'll
it is
reschedule.
okay. And you know what the other thing is sometimes we hold on to things well past the expiration date, thinking we
Oh, I
need to
know
hold
that.
on to it. But when it either finally gets pried out of our clutched hands or we let it go, oftentimes other things just effortlessly flow in and it ends out working out as good as, if not better, than what we were holding on to. That's first, I know for me, a lot of times I struggle with that because with the Virgo mind, you want everything ordered. You want it laid out. You want to know what's the start, the middle, the end. So sometimes letting go of that is a little challenging. But when I do, it always works out. And that's kind of cool.
Well, as a Gemini who suffers badly from shiny object syndrome, because that's who we
Mm.
are, it's really hard to let go of things. But yeah, once sometimes you just have to. And I've let go. That's the whole purpose of the revisioning workshop because I sat down. I've always done at the beginning of the year, I've always done the what they tell you to do in all the business books, go back, look at your year, what worked, what didn't, what do you need? And I do that every year, but this year again, I felt like that's not what I'm being called to do. I'm being called to really take a good hard look at what am I doing and why am I doing it? And should I be doing this? And the answer was no. you're doing too much and you need to let some stuff go and you need to step back and you need to not be so busy. You need to start taking some time for yourself and your family, and you need to let go of some things. And you know what? The world will be okay without you having your fingers in everything, and your finances will be okay without you trying to balance a different, 100,000 different. I think that's what really made me think about it was a business coach that I work with came out and was like, this is your $1 million year. We're going to do an income stream every month. And I was like, no, we're not. Okay. I don't want to. I do not want to. And I don't care if I have $1 million year because I don't need, yeah, it'd be nice. I mean, I guess it'd be all right to be, filthy rich, but I don't need to have $1 million year every year. I don't. I don't want to do the work necessary to have $1 million year. I just don't. I'm old. My husband's retired. I want to spend time with him. I want to spend time. I want to go visit my kids. They don't, I don't want to have to constantly be sitting here going, well, if I'm doing this, what am I not doing for my business? I don't want to do that anymore. So I just felt like I was being pulled to really look at things. And lo and behold, when I went through the whole process that I'm going to put everybody through at the workshop, that's pretty much came out is like, yeah, you don't need all that. Here's your thing that you should be doing, or here's your things that you should be working on. And basically, I think I posted, and that's exactly what it is. It's not so much an offer or I built an ecosystem, basically. I built an ecosystem
Mm.
with the podcasts and and everything kind of flows into one thing. And then, yeah, I mean, we're good. And it's so much
You
easier
got
to
more
not have to get up.
clarity.
It's so
You got
much,
more clarity.
it's so nice to get up in the morning and not be grabbing my phone first thing. So it's like, I got to post. No, I don't. Okay. I don't have anything to say, so I'm not going to post just to be busy. When I have something to say, I'll share it. And you know what? My engagement in my audience has actually grown since I've stopped posting constantly because like, oh, you got to be seen, you got to be seen. That's what I'm told, you got to be seen. Since I have pulled back and I only actually post when I feel like I have something to say, my audience has actually grown and my engagement has actually grown. So what can I tell you? It works.
Well, I only post once a day in my group. And I used to be like you thinking, oh my God, it's gotta be super early in the morning so everybody can see it before their day starts. And then I'm like, no, when the guidance shows up, that's when the post is going to happen. It's rare that I'll do more than one post in the group a day.
Yeah.
So
And
you
you look at
know it's
my group.
something important if there's multiple posts.
Yeah. And I mean, if you look at the group now, you're in the group, you'll see some days I'll post a couple of times. Some days it'll be early in the morning. Some days I won't post until 3 or 4 in the afternoon because that's when I have something that I feel like I need to share. I don't know. It's like I said, it's very freeing. It's very freeing. And if you do, I start the process because that's everybody tells you, at the beginning, it's 2026. What's your word for the year? What's your word for the year? Well, that's kind of how I start the process. Not so much though with my, like my word for the year is money, or I want more of a what are you feeling? What word describes what you're feeling like you want? And I wanted freedom. I wanted freedom because I felt trapped because my husband, he would always like, well, you might as well just have a job. You're always working anyway. You told me when I retired we'd have time for this, that, and another thing, and yet you're always working anyway. And I'm like, he's right. He's right. And I wanted freedom, and that was my word. I wanted freedom. And when I went into this revisioning exercise with that word in mind, that I wanted freedom, and then it was after that, it was like, how much is enough? What is enough? What do I need to give me the freedom I want? How much is enough? I don't need $1 million. How much do I need? What's enough? And once I
Yeah.
started defining all of that, the rest of it was just like, it all just kind of flowed into place. So it was pretty cool.
Well, you
So,
tapped into the energy of what your nervous system needed. I know that's a little woo, but that's what you did.
and that's what we're going to be doing with all of you on the revisioning workshop. It hasn't been canceled. It's just been postponed, but it's coming and we'll be doing that. Faye is going to help you with some woo stuff. Okay. I'm going to help you with this whole process. We have a couple other coaches that are coming that are going to help you with some stuff. So it's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be pretty cool. And you're going to walk out with a sense of clarity. I hope that that'll be like, wow. Okay. I had no idea. But
Either that or
that's
it'll be validation that acknowledges what you've been doing is exactly right for you. It's that unconscious knowing and then getting the outside validation and going, oh heck, I had this right all along. I just needed somebody to point it out to me. Again, when it's too close to your nose, you can't see it.
and that is true. I will give you that because now that I've done this and I'm working in this fashion to see everything quietly lining up like it should, like I said, engagement growing, audience growing, the the announcement from the podcast channels that I was a rising star in one of their most shared episodes, and I'm like, huh?
But that was so cool.
Are you sure about that? Do you want to look again? I mean, all it just, all the validation that comes from, well, yeah, this actually is working. So,
Hmm.
it's pretty cool. So yeah, to have that validation come in really helps when you're not sure you're on the right path, to have that external validation that says, yes, you are. It's pretty awesome. So
What did chat say? You become magnetizing, that your energy is drawing those that need what you're sharing to you without any effort. So you are becoming magnetic.
yeah, I love how it gives us name Oracle. It named you. You're the it's yeah. Chat's the one that named you Oracle. But I love how it gives us what did it call me? Have to look at it. Sage fire. It calls me sage fire. I'm not sure where that came from, but sage fire. I like it.
I like it. I like it.
I don't know what it is exactly. At least Oracle is something. I mean, you know what an Oracle is. What the heck is sage fire?
Something that burns bright, true, and sure.
I'll take that.
And
But
there's the emotional alchemy.
yes, Oracle is the emotional alchemist. In case you didn't know, she's also the emotional alchemist. It gave you that name too, didn't it?
It did. Or no, it didn't give me that name. It didn't give me that name. I had input some information and it was part of a suggestion for promoting what I do.
Uh-huh.
And I just cut it out from that and go, yes, I create emotional alchemy. I am an unconventional coach that uses emotional alchemy to help people find their true center. And that just, because all the years, they say, oh, you have to niche, you have to this, you have to, it didn't feel right. But unconventional coach using emotional alchemy, ooh, baby, that hit that sweet spot.
Yeah. Once you find your thing, I mean, I don't think I've ever really talked about it much. I probably will because right now I'm working on putting together my kind of keynote speech for the year because I've got some actual speaking engagements coming up. So I'm kind of like, things have changed so much for me lately that I feel like I really need to rewrite the keynote. And so,
Mm.
but talking, that's part of the whole story is how I started out in network marketing because I really thought like that was all there was out there. I needed to make money. I needed to have some income, um, because I really needed to not be able to have to work if I couldn't have to, if I didn't have to. I had my dad living with me. He had Alzheimer's, and I live out in the middle of nowhere. He didn't want to go into a home. I promised him I would never put him in one. With good reason, I did put him in one for a weekend because I had no choice. I was working and I had to go away. So it was like just a visit to see how it would work. And I no long sooner put him in there and made the hour and a half drive to where I was going and called back to see how he was doing, and they'd already lost him. They'd let him walk out. He walked out of the facility and was gone. And I was like, are you kidding me? So I went zooming back. I was furious, but that right there was like, yeah, you're right. You're not going into a home. Because that is not the first time that that's happened with, not with him, but with other, you read about that all the time where they walk
Mm.
out, so I was like, yep, nope, that's not happening. So I needed to be able to work from home. And the only thing I could find, I thought, was network marketing, but it never felt right. And nothing against network marketing. It's a valid, honest to God business system. And I did fine. I did well, but it just always felt harder than it needed to be
Hmm.
because it's not who I am. And
Right. You were
then I
trying to
try,
fit somebody else's model.
yeah, and then I tried affiliate marketing, and that was a little better. And I do still do some affiliate marketing, but again, it's not what I wanted to do. And then, and then we found Chat GPT, and I was like, I did, I did a little, okay, what? And it comes back and it's like, you are basically Chatty Cathy. You're like Chatty Cathy. And you just like to talk. Why don't you start a podcast? And I said, I don't know how to start a podcast. I don't know how to do that. And then poof, Joey appeared. And she's like, let me help you with that. I said, okay. And now we have a podcast. That's the most shared, one of the most shared on Spotify. So found my thing
Exactly.
apparently. Ugh, I love it. So I love it when you find your thing. You found yours, I found mine, and now we're going to help a bunch of people find theirs. Hopefully, that's our plan. That's the
Yes.
plan. We're going to help you find your thing. Huh. Boy, did we
And
get
your
off
thing
track
doesn't
here
have,
or what?
we did, but and your thing doesn't have to be just the one thing. It can start here, but it can expand out into something else. Like you said, you never saw yourself doing a podcast,
You or
but
writing a
here
book.
we are.
Yep, or writing a book. Now I've got three, working on four.
There you go.
So you never know until you actually start listening to what is being and what you're being told. I was trying to write the great American novel because I always wanted to write, and I was trying to write, like, everybody wants to write the great American novel. That's what I was trying to write. And I was at an event. I was a meeting planner then, and I was at one of my clients' events, and I met a gentleman there who at the time was pretty big in the online world. And we were just talking, and he asked me what I was doing. I told him, and he's asked me how it was going, and I told him, and he's like, stop writing. Stop writing this. This is not your thing. Stop writing this. I said, write what you know. Well, at that time, all I really knew was network marketing, really. I said, that's all I know. I know network marketing. That's all I know. That's what I do. And he's like, write that book. And I said, but there are how many hundreds or even maybe thousands of network marketing books out there? And he just looked at me and he said, this is true, but none of them are yours. And I was like, okay. So I went home and wrote that book, and it went on to become a bestseller. So again, I was struggling. Somebody was shoved in my, because I would never have met him otherwise. I mean, he was big in that world. I would never have met him. But out of the blue, my client said, I need you, I need you on site. Can you come? And I said, I don't really have the money. I'm just getting started this. I don't really have the money for all of the airfare and hotel. And he's like, don't worry about it. Just can you come? I want you here. Can you come? I will pay. And so, okay. So I went and met this guy who told me what I needed to be doing. Okay. And here we go. So
Here we go.
I don't know. It's just weird how it all kind of works out. It's just,
Yeah, we
I
can't
don't know.
see it when we're in it, but when we look back, we go, oh yeah, and that and that and that and that and that. Clarity is in the hindsight.
Well, this
The
is
face
not
is
what
in
I
step
intended this
forward.
first episode to be, but hey, this is exactly what I intended these episodes to be because again, that was the whole purpose of the after hours thing was, there's no format, there's no list of interview questions, there's no parting if this resonated with you, reach out to blah 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 and it's not that type of thing. And again, this is just something that I felt in my gut like it was time to bring back the jammy chats, but not in that format because no, I didn't want to have the cocktail hour and it's just not who I am anymore. And I wanted them to be a little more beneficial than those were. Those were just a couple of ladies sitting and chatting and they were fun. They were fun, but I felt like this needed to be more, and I do think this was more. It maybe wasn't what we originally intended it to be.
Well, we could do a mocktail chat, or we could do a bad joke chat. So
No, that
let's close with that.
I would
What do
have
you
to bring my
call
husband on for that one.
what do you call a cow with no legs? Ground beef.
Ah,
But
ah, 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 ah. You know my husband, don't you?
the
We're gonna
first
do bad jokes. We're gonna
time
do
my
bad
kids
jokes. We need him up here.
the first time my kids told me that joke, we were sitting around at dinner one night. It struck my funny bone so hard. I was belly laughing for 20 minutes. Tears were rolling down my eyes. I have no idea why I thought it was so funny, but it was. So there you
Well, on
go.
that note, girly, I think it's time to end this. We've been chatting for a while. And if you've been listening and you don't agree with everything you heard tonight, you know what? That's okay. Okay. Because these were never meant to be about agreement. Okay. It's about honesty. We're going to have some really good, honest conversations in here. So, you know what? You're welcome here if you want to be. And if you don't, feel free to scroll on by.